It is with a heavy heart that we are reporting the death of Governor State University's sixth president, Dr. Cheryl Green. Green passed on April 23rd, just 2 months after her retirement from the college. The announcement was made via an email sent by interim president Dr. Cory Bradford. Dr. Green spent the last 5 years of her career at the university's helm and helped to see the school through a turbulent pandemic period, while also campaigning for social justice on campus and abroad. The social justice initiative would not be where it was today without the guiding hand of Dr. Green, and the work they do will be just one of her many lasting legacies. Governor State University is offering counseling services for students and faculty who are grieving at this time. Students can reach out to the Counseling and Wellness Center on campus, while faculty can reach out to the Employee Assistant Program. For GovState News, this is Graham Taylor.
At Governor State University, Earth Day was celebrated through a multitude of activities throughout the week. Earth Week included events such as electronics recycling, a garden event on the patio, tree planting, pharmaceutical recycling, road cleanup, and much more. One of the more annual events includes a walk through GSU's own Nathan Manilow Sculpture Park. Multiple group walks were hosted throughout Earth Week, while also encouraging students and visitors to walk on the trails on their own time to celebrate Earth Day. The Nathan Manilow Sculpture Park is open to the public all year round, but it is especially appreciated around Earth Day as the park aims to connect art and nature through a collection of 30 different pieces within 100 acres. This prairie museum also includes multiple sculptures made entirely of recycled material. A unique aspect of this park is that the landscape is beautiful throughout all 4 seasons. The trails are open for the public 365 days of the year and is conserved with the intent of making the land better than when it was found. After being founded in 1976, the sculpture park continues to remain maintained as a result of grants and donations. Other contributions include those who give their time to serve the community and students by leading explorative and educational tours of the museum. This is Annalie Ave with GovState News.
Good evening. My name is Jada Thompson with GovState News, and I am on campus for a cozy event put on by the first Black Greek letter organization to charter at Governor State University. This past week, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated hosted their Pretty in PJs event in Eberton Hall, where they had a pajama party for women where they played games, listened to music, connected with one another, and provided attendees with more information about their illustrious sorority.
So today we're having our last event of the semester, which is Pretty in PJs. This is something that was done before we were chartered, so we wanted to run it back and see how the girlies were feeling, and so far we had a good turnout.
This is the second Pretty in PJs event they've held since their chapter chartering in November of 2023. And due to its success, there's hopes to continue this in upcoming semesters to wrap up the year in a pretty way.
Essentially what it was that we thought of what our goal was and what we wanted to hear from these ladies, as well as just to make sure that we had a good organized event that flowed smoothly, and I think we did that. So it was really just planning and working together. Our purpose for having Pretty in PJs was so that other people on campus would be able to hang out and get to know a little bit more of the members of Upsilon Rho, and just to have a good time with us, just so that they can see who we are outside of service, and just so that they could put a name to a face.
Although this is the last event on campus for the semester, there are more events to come from the sorority to continue to increase engagement and be of service to all mankind. For GovState News, this has been Jada Thompson.
Here at Governor State University, the Advocating for Sexual Assault Prevention team is teaming up with the Crisis Center for South Suburbia for a special resource table event. Held in the main atrium, the event invites students, faculty, and staff to learn about support services and access resources for those impacted by domestic violence.
We're here at Governor State today to give resources for students if they're dealing with domestic violence or if they know someone. We do have our emergency shelter. We have our 24-hour hotline where you can call, text if any emergencies arise. And we also have counseling services, housing services. We also have a volunteer program, so any students that are like psychology majors or social work majors, they can come and volunteer for us.
Organizers hope the event will raise awareness, empower survivors, and strengthen the community's commitment to prevention and support. This has been Noah Norris for GovState News.
The Governor State University Theater and Performance Studies Department debuted their production of Dog Sees God on Thursday, April 3rd. The almost sold-out show was held at Sherman Hall on the university's campus, and encore performances were held throughout the weekend. Written in 2004, Dog Sees God, Confessions of a Teenage Blockhead, follows a cast of high school students not so subtly based on characters from the Peanuts comic strip by Charles Schulz. The story focuses on CB after the death of his dog and how he grapples with the grief of loss and growing up. His classmates also deal with their own trials and tribulations that come with being high school students, leading to much of the drama of the show. The vulgar, tense, sometimes violent comedy may come as a shock to classic Peanuts fans, but seeing these classic characters in such a new environment helps to add to the funnier moments, while also building believable settings for these events to take place in. Dr. Patrick Santaro, the director of the production, took the stage before the actors did in order to give a few words and warnings about the show. The disclaimer was necessary because while Dog Sees God is a comedy, it is equally dramatic, and the show deals with heavy themes that come with being a high schooler, including drugs, sex, isolation, self-harm, bigotry, and more. The audience, however, needed no encouragement to cheer along, as from the opening scene, the theater was filled with laughs and applause. Before long, the one-act show had come to a close, leaving some audience members crying, some laughing, and the rest somewhere in between. In the end, though, the whole audience came together during a standing ovation. The cast and crew remained on stage following the performance in order to host a short question and answer session for the remaining audience members. They were asked a range of questions from the audience, including how they prepared for the show, how they adapted these famous characters, and how they felt about the show overall, amongst other questions. The cast also thanked Dr. Santaro for his help in directing and helping the cast find their characters. After receiving a second round of applause, the cast and crew gave a bow as the curtain closed on a successful premiere. For GovState News, this is Graham Taylor.
Good afternoon. My name is Jada Thompson with GovState News. And right now I am in Hall of Governors where they're hosting the celebration for the 2024-2025 women's basketball season. This past week, GovState hosted a ceremony to commemorate our women's basketball team on a phenomenal season. They made history as the CCAC Conference champions and advanced to the Final 8 at Nationals. The event took place in the Hall of Governors and welcomed students, staff, and loved ones of the athletes. Many people from GovState staff spoke to give praise to the athletes for not only their success this season, but on future endeavors.
It's a gratification of just a testament to all the work that the kids put in. That's the biggest thing. It's just like to see the university celebrate them for the hard work, because like you guys see on the videos, y'all just see games. Y'all don't see the practices, y'all don't see the conditioning, you guys don't see the weight, the way we lift weights and how committed that they were.
This team had many great accomplishments and walked away with lifelong memories, showing that with hard work and dedication, great success can be earned.
Hard work pays off, honestly. That's all it's been. See, the game of basketball, it take everybody. It take the coaches, it take the players. As a player, all you have to do is work hard. As a coach, you just game plan. You tell the people how to work hard. All we have to do is work hard, and that's been our motto the whole season, is work hard. Each and every one of us, our effort has never slacked off or wearied, really.
We are so proud of what our women's basketball team achieved and wish them the best of luck for seasons up ahead. This has been Jada Thompson with GovState News.
The Trump administration has ordered the illegal arrest and deportation of multiple U.S. immigrants and citizens during the months of March and April, as well as unlawfully revoking others' visas. Despite court orders to return some of those deported, including orders from the Supreme Court, Trump and his administration have refused, and if they continue, could be held in contempt for defying these orders. Rumaysa Öztürk, a Turkish PhD student at Tufts University in Massachusetts, was abducted by masked ICE agents while walking along the street. The shocking arrest was captured on camera, and since being placed into custody, Öztürk was transported to Vermont, then again to Louisiana, where she is currently being held. Her lawyers claim that the arrest happened in retaliation for an article Öztürk wrote in support of the Palestinian people, a clear violation of her First Amendment rights. Since her arrest, a federal judge has ordered she be returned to Vermont while she remains in custody. A federal prosecutor appealed that order, but the appeal was denied, meaning that the government has until May 1st to return Ozturk to Vermont. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, another immigrant who is illegally detained and deported by the current administration, was arrested on March 15th and sent to an El Salvadoran prison after a, quote, administrative error, end quote, caused authorities to suspect that he had ties to the gang MS-13. No charges were filed against him, and he was given no due process before he was removed from the country. Despite the administration claiming that this was a mistake, they have made no efforts to return Abrego Garcia, and have in fact hindered others' efforts to return him, going so far as to threaten to deport him again should he return home. The Supreme Court ordered the government to facilitate his return, but Trump and his officials have ignored and challenged the order. Chris Van Hollen, a U.S. Senator from Maryland, met with Abrego Garcia in El Salvador on April 18th in order to confirm his whereabouts and his well-being, as well as to advocate for his release. While these two cases show what little regard the president has for the rule of law, they are only a drop in the bucket as far as unlawful arrests go. Hundreds of others have been detained in similar ways, while hundreds more face deportation to overseas camps. The Trump administration has also announced plans to increase the federal budget of ICE by billions of dollars and to increase efforts to build more foreign prison camps in order to concentrate these illegally deported people. If tangible efforts to retrieve Abrego Garcia are not in place at the end of April, this administration could face contempt charges. For GovState News, this is Graham Taylor.
Monday, March 31st, 2025, U.S. Senator Cory Booker began his marathon speech on the Senate floor, lasting until Tuesday night, April 1st, just after 8 p.m. Booker spoke directly to the American people for 25 hours and 5 minutes without stopping to eat or use the bathroom. This broke the record for the longest individual's floor speech delivered, surpassing the previous record set by a filibuster against the Civil Rights Act of 1957. Before taking the floor, Booker stated his intention was to speak for as long as he was physically able to, with the intent of uplifting the stories of Americans who are being harmed by the Trump administration.
I rise with the intention of getting in some good trouble. I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business of the United States Senate for as long as I am physically able.
Booker did not pull out a phone book, children's literature, or other writing to read from, as previous speakers have done to take up time. Booker stayed completely focused on Trump's agenda and how his actions, reckless behavior, and disregard for the rule of law hurts Americans every day.
In just 71 days, the President of the United States has inflicted so much harm on Americans' safety, financial stability, the core foundations of our democracy.
Other Senate Democrats stepped in to help Booker during his speech to ask questions and make his speech more of an exchange rather than a monologue.
I didn't want to miss this moment in history, not just for the historic nature of it, but for the substance of it as well.
Senator Booker, I've been listening to this debate all night, and I gotta say, you're on fire. And you're on fire because the American people are very, very angry about what is happening. They are not happy with what this administration has done.
After his speech, Booker recalls the physical challenges of remaining on the floor for 25 hours.
I mean, my spirit's soaring, my body is definitely weary.
I'm a former athlete, so I know when you get dehydrated, you get a lot of cramps. That was the biggest thing I was fighting, was that different muscle groups starting to really cramp up. So it was just a lot of physical challenges, definitely making it that long for a guy. As I said, it's Murphy and I joked, we're not the same probably in our 40s like we were 9 years ago. So I'm just really grateful.
After Booker's speech, Senator Adam Schiff told reporters that voters want to see Democrats fight.
They want to see us fight. They want to see us use whatever tools we have. And we may not have the votes necessary to stop this reconciliation bill, but we're going to do everything we can to make the case to the American people. And hope that we can, if not persuade people in the building, and persuade millions of Americans outside this building that they need to reject Donald Trump and everything he stands for.
Senator Dick Durbin reflects after seeing Booker's determination and strength on the Senate floor.
It was amazing. I'm glad I was there for a major part of it. I've never seen that kind of reaction from the Senate chamber gallery either. The place was packed and very vocal in their support. It was an amazing performance, but much more than that. America needed to see that kind of determination to stand up for those values.
Even after this record-breaking hold on the Senate floor, Booker states that he didn't get to half of the material he wanted to share.
What was amazing to me is we created a lot of material. We had a really good case. I don't know what we're going to do with this because we didn't get through maybe half of the things that we wanted to share with the American people. But in the end, I think that what was really important to us is that people heard the voices, the real authentic voices of Americans who are afraid, hurting, angry, demanding, frustrated, and also that they felt some of my heart.
This is Annalie Ave with GovState News.
On March 17th, Justin Eichhorn, a Republican member of the Minnesota Senate, was arrested after trying to solicit sex from a minor. The arrest was made as part of a prostitution sting operation. The next day, Democratic and Republican members of Congress were calling for Eichhorn's resignation, with Republican members threatening to motion for his expulsion by the end of the week. Eichhorn announced his resignation on March 20th, when he was officially charged with coercion and enticement of a minor during his first court appearance. His wife, with whom he has 4 minor children with, filed for a divorce the following week. In a release from the District of Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office, text conversations between Eichhorn and an undercover agent posing as a 17-year-old girl were published. Eichhorn continued to make advances even after the quote-unquote girl gave her age multiple times. He even asked for explicit photographs before agreeing to meet up with her. After arranging the meeting, police arrested him and searched his car, finding multiple cell phones, cash, and a condom. His apartment was also searched later, where police recovered another phone that had been factory reset, a laptop that an unnamed individual was attempting to pick up during the police search, and a firearm that Eichhorn lied about possessing. On April 21st, Eichhorn entered a plea of not guilty. His next hearing is scheduled for May 21st, as trial proceedings are underway. For GovState News, this is Graham Taylor.
Thursday, April 10th, 2025, students at Satellite High School in Florida held a walkout and gathering in the school's courtyard to voice concerns of the district not renewing a teacher's license after using a transgender student's preferred name.
We're here to really show support for Ms. Calhoun and to show that we are not okay with what is going on and that we truly are upset that we are losing such a positive teacher.
A parent at the high school reported and complained that the teacher had been referring to a student by a name other than their legal name. Spokesperson Janet Murnaghan said in a statement that this directly violates state law and the district's standardized process for written parental consent. The law it's referring to is the Florida's Parental Rights and Educational Bill, also referred to as the Don't Say Gay Bill.
To me, it really stems back to a First Amendment right of both the student and the teacher. Sure, the parents have their rights to do as they wish in their home and with their child, but the student in the classroom, I believe, and the teacher should also be protected by our Constitution.
According to CNN, the nationwide conservative-led push for more laws restricting discussion around gender identity and sexuality in classrooms is aimed at limiting the community's representation and rights. Parents and students were seen at the corner of the high school even after dismissal to continue voicing their concerns, saying that the removal of this teacher for the following school year isn't right.
She just has done so much within the community, so that it's just really upsetting to know that we are losing that.
The district stated that since the state will be reviewing her teaching certificate based on these actions, the district decided not to renew the annual contract until the issue is resolved with the state. This is Annalie Ave with GovState News.
A decision by Target that has cost them billions of dollars in market value, with share prices falling as well. Target shareholders filed a class action lawsuit claiming Target defrauded them by artificially inflating stock prices and failing to warn investors about how removing DEI and ESG, or environmental, social, and governance policies, could cause stock prices to plummet. The CEO of Target claims their footprint has been shortened because of tariffs and the economy. Whether or not Target re-engages the Black community, one thing is certain: the power of the Black dollar and the voices behind it are not being ignored. For GovState News, this has been Jada Thompson.
Despite ongoing economic uncertainties, Americans are expected to spend more on Easter celebrations this year. According to projections, Easter spending in 2025 is set to reach $23.6 billion. That's up from $22.4 billion in 2024. Food, gifts, and of course candy are among the top spending categories as families prepare to celebrate. Still, many are determined to keep the holiday traditions alive, even if it means finding creative ways to save. This has been Noah Norris for GovState News.
In the overworld, whoa, anything you can dream about, you can create.
Welcome to Hollywood Buzz, your source for the latest in the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Graham Taylor, and today we'll be looking at upcoming releases, celebrity news, and the latest from Hollywood. Let's get started. A Minecraft movie, the blockbuster hit based on one of the most popular video games in the world, set records during its opening week at the beginning of April. Starring Jack Black and Jason Momoa, a Minecraft movie is now the second highest grossing movie to be based on a video game. Sinners, the newly released horror film directed and written by Ryan Coogler and starring Michael B. Jordan, took over the top spot at the box office by the end of the month, and is on track to have a potentially record-breaking second weekend in theaters. The Academy has introduced a new rule regarding Oscars voting. Voters will now have to watch every film in a category before casting a vote in that category. Shockingly, prior to this year, watching every film nominated was not a requirement for voting, though it was encouraged. Now, voters will not only have to watch every film in full, but also fill out a report stating when and where the film was watched. This new rule was met largely with positivity from Academy members. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced their class of 2025 with a new wave of inductees. Artists and groups that are now a part of the Hall of Fame include Bad Company, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, Soundgarden, The White Stripes, Salt and Peppa, and Warren Zevon. For GovState News, this has been Graham Taylor with the latest Hollywood Buzz.
Nobukatsu and his men spare no one.
We have ways to banish such darkness.
Welcome to Game On. I'm Noel Trimmy with GovState News, bringing you the latest news on current and upcoming video games. Let's get started.
Boundless river that begins as a stream.
After being announced in September of 2022 and being delayed twice, Assassin's Creed Shadows finally was released on March 20th. This is the latest installment in the franchise's 18-year run, and Ubisoft brought a lot of new changes to this game. The biggest change that comes with Assassin's Creed Shadows is the introduction of two protagonists, Yasuke and Naoe, who have completely different playstyles. Yasuke is a historical black figure that served as a samurai in the 1500s during the Sengoku period. As a samurai in-game, Yasuke doesn't play like the traditional assassin, as he is designed to charge into battle and take on larger groups of opponents. Naoe is a Japanese woman and plays like the traditional assassin that the franchise is known for. With plenty of stealth options, parkour abilities, and the infamous jump from high places, Naoe will feel familiar to Assassin's Creed veterans with a few other tricks up her sleeves. Some other notable features include immersive and canon modes when it comes to the story. Immersive mode switches the dialogue for each character to their native language, so everyone will feel distinct and true to where they came from. Canon mode puts the emphasis on the story, as you will lose the ability to have different endings based on your decisions in-game, but will see the path the creator laid out for each character. Assassin's Creed Shadow has also reconstructed its combat, as you now have different color icons that signify how you approach the fight. White or blue icons allow the player to block or counter the enemy's attacks, while red icons indicate that you need to move out of harm's way. Shadows also has a map size comparable to Assassin's Creed Origins, which has the 4th largest map in the franchise. This game also has dynamic weather and destructible environments, which enhances the gameplay and playstyles for each player. Assassin's Creed Shadow is available for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, with the standard edition being $69.99 and the digital deluxe edition being $89.99. Players also have the option to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, which will allow them to play Shadows as well as other Ubisoft games for only $17.99 a month. This concludes Game On with Noel Tremio from GovState News.
Vengeance.
I have a debt to settle.
Bound by blood. We will be unstoppable.
Harden. Over to Batum. Batum beats the shot clock.
Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Noel Tremio with GovState News, bringing you the latest and greatest sports updates. Let's get started. Starting off with some breaking news, as three-time Super Bowl champion and NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe has stepped away from his role on ESPN. This is due to a lawsuit stating that Sharpe allegedly sexually assaulted Gabby Zuniga, a 20-year-old model for OnlyFans, during their 2-year relationship and is seeking $50 million in damages. Sharpe denies these allegations, stating that their relationship was consensual and that he plans to return to ESPN during the start of the NFL preseason. In NFL news, the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round of the NFL draft. This was a shock to many, as Sanders was thought to be drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 1st round, considering they are in need of a quarterback. Sanders has played for the Jackson State Tigers from 2021 to 2022, and then the Colorado Buffaloes from 2023 to 2024. In the 50 games that Sanders has played, he became first team All-Big 12 in 2024, won the Jerry Rice Award in 2021, and has 134 passing touchdowns and 17 rushing touchdowns. Moving to the NBA, we take a look at the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. After a hard battle in the play-in tournament, the Grizzlies were determined to take down the number 1 seeded Thunder. This wouldn't be the case though, as they lost Game 1 with a score of 80 to 131, Game 2 with a score of 99 to 118, Game 3 with a score of 108 to 114, and Game 4 with a score of 115 to 117. Ja Morant was ruled out in Game 3 with a hip injury, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander closed it out with 38 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists as the Thunder head to the 2nd round of the playoffs. The NHL playoffs are also taking place as the Carolina Hurricanes take on the New Jersey Devils. The first round started with the Hurricanes taking a 2-0 lead, with Game 1 having a score of 4-1 and Game 2 having a score of 3-1. The Devils forced Game 3 into overtime as Nico Hischier, Dawson Mercer, and Simone Nemec brought home the win, bringing the series 2-1. In WNBA news, the Dallas Wings drafted Paige Buchers with the first pick. After the Wings missed the playoffs last season, they decided to change up their leadership. This included making Kurt Miller the Wings general manager after serving as their longtime coach, and hiring Chris Copeland as their new head coach. Buchers played her final season with the UConn Huskies before being drafted to the Wings, where she averaged 19.7 points, shooting 52.8% from the field, 41.2% from the three-point line, and 88.5% from the free throw line. She also averaged 4.6 assists and 4.4 rebounds. Our final story takes us to the MLB as the Chicago Cubs take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Cubs started off this first of 3 series strong as they shut out the Phillies 4-0, making it the Phillies' 3rd straight shutout this season. Game 2 was very different as the Phillies had a blowout victory with the score of 10-4. The Cubs have a record of 17-11 and the Phillies have a record of 14-13 as they await their final game. This concludes Sports Talk with Noel Tremio from GovState News.